The Chicago Sky just pulled off the most disrespectful move in WNBA history, and Angel Reese is at the center of it all. What started as a simple exit interview turned into complete chaos that has the entire league talking. The Sky organization literally canceled exit interviews for 3 of their biggest players at the last possible second. And the reason why will absolutely shock you. This isn't just about hurt feelings or drama anymore. This is about an entire franchise falling apart right before our eyes. Angel Reese, Courtney Vandersloot, and Ariel Atkins were all supposed to speak to the media about their season, but the Sky pulled the plug without warning. And before you think this is normal, let me tell you why this is actually insane. Teams never do this. Ever. It's basically admitting your locker room is so toxic that you can't even let your players talk publicly. But here's where it gets even crazier. Angel Reese had already thrown Courtney Vandersloot under the bus in previous comments, saying things about her veteran teammate that you just don't say publicly. She questioned Vandersloot's leadership and basically blamed her for team chemistry issues. Now imagine having to share a locker room with someone who just exposed you like that. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. What makes this even more shocking is that the Sky waited almost a month to announce these interviews wouldn't happen. They strung everyone along, making reporters think they'd get their chance to ask questions, only to pull the rug out at the last second. That's not just unprofessional, that's straight up disrespectful to everyone involved. If you enjoyed this drama so far, make sure to hit that like button because this story is about to get even wilder. The real tea started spilling when Ariel Atkins got dragged into this mess. Sources close to the team say Atkins was absolutely furious about Angel Reese's comments, even though Reese didn't directly call her out. The way Atkins was interacting with Reese after those comments went public was ice cold. You could see it in their body language during games. They barely looked at each other, barely communicated on the court. This wasn't just teammates having a disagreement. This was a full-blown feud. But that wasn't the whole story. While the Sky was canceling these interviews, Angel Reese was already moving on to bigger things. Within 20 minutes of the cancellation being announced, she posted on social media asking fans to submit questions for her podcast. She literally said, "Forget the official exit interview, I'll do my own thing." That's a power move if I've ever seen one. She's basically telling the Sky organization that she doesn't need them to control her narrative. The timing of all this couldn't be worse for Chicago. This is a franchise that won a championship in 2021, was competitive in 2022, and decent in 2023. Now they're the laughingstock of the league. They mortgaged their entire future in bad trades, lost key players, and created a toxic environment that no free agent will want to join. How do you go from champions to complete disaster in just 4 years? What happened next would shock everyone even more. Reports started coming out that this wasn't just about Angel Reese's comments. There were deeper issues in that locker room that the organization desperately wanted to keep hidden. Players were allegedly choosing sides, creating cliques, and some were even refusing to pass to certain teammates during games. That's not basketball, that's middle school drama playing out on a professional stage. The comparison to other NBA drama is inevitable here. This is giving major Dwight Howard in Orlando vibes, or Jimmy Butler forcing his way out of Minnesota. But here's the difference. Those guys were established superstars who had earned the right to speak up. Angel Reese is still trying to prove herself in this league. The audacity to create this much chaos as a young player is either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Meanwhile, teams like the Indiana Fever are thriving with their young core. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston figured out their chemistry and turned their season around. They made the playoffs while the Sky imploded. Sophie Cunningham has been showing veteran leadership that the Sky desperately needed. The contrast between these two franchises couldn't be more obvious. One is building something special with young talent that actually gets along. The other is burning to the ground because of ego and drama. But here's the part nobody's talking about. The Sky organization knew this was coming. They saw the warning signs all season long. The passive-aggressive social media posts, the lack of chemistry on the court, the whispers from inside the locker room. They could have addressed it earlier, could have had team meetings, could have brought in mediators. Instead, they let it fester until it exploded in the most public way possible. Angel Reese's future with the Sky is obviously done. There's no coming back from this. You can't throw your teammates under the bus, skip official exit interviews, and expect to return next season like nothing happened. The question now is, where does she go? Which team is willing to take a chance on someone who just helped destroy an entire franchise's culture? Because make no mistake, wherever she goes next will define her entire career. If she goes to another team and the same drama follows her, then we'll know she's the problem. But if she thrives in a better environment, maybe the Sky organization was just that dysfunctional. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Angel Reese is an entertainer first, basketball player second. She knows how to generate buzz and stay relevant. But at some point, you have to back it up with winning, and that hasn't happened yet. The craziest part about all this is that Angel Reese is actually a good player. She rebounds like crazy, plays hard, and has real talent. But none of that matters if you're destroying team chemistry. Basketball is the ultimate team sport. You need all 5 players working together, trusting each other, having each other's backs. When that trust is broken, everything falls apart. What makes the situation even more insane is how public it all became. Usually teams handle this stuff behind closed doors. They have PR teams that control the narrative, keep things professional, maintain the organization's image. The Sky threw all of that out the window. They let this become a complete circus that everyone in the league is watching and laughing at. The damage to the Sky's reputation might be irreparable. Free agents are watching this unfold and thinking there's no way I'm signing there. Young players in the draft are probably hoping they don't get selected by Chicago. When your organization becomes toxic, it takes years to rebuild that culture and trust. Sometimes it never fully recovers. Think about what this means for next season. The Sky will have to rebuild almost from scratch. They'll lose key players to free agency, struggle to attract new talent, and deal with the aftermath of this disaster. Meanwhile, their division rivals are getting stronger. Teams are building super teams, while the Sky can't even keep their current roster from imploding. The league office has to be watching this with concern, too. The WNBA is trying to grow, attract new fans, secure bigger TV deals. Then you have situations like this that make the league look unprofessional and chaotic. It's not a good look when one of your flagship franchises can't even conduct basic exit interviews without drama. Here's what really gets me about this whole situation. The Sky had everything they needed to succeed. They had veteran leadership in Vandersloot, young talent in Reese, and a winning tradition from their championship years. All they had to do was manage personalities and keep everyone focused on basketball. Instead, they let egos and drama tear everything apart. The media's role in this can't be ignored either. They've been eating this drama up, reporting every rumor, analyzing every social media post, creating narratives that might not even be accurate. But that's what happens when you don't control your own story. When you cancel exit interviews and go silent, the media fills that void with speculation and gossip. What's really sad is thinking about the fans. Chicago Sky fans are some of the most loyal in the league. They've supported this team through good times and bad. Now they're watching their favorite franchise become a complete joke. They deserve better than this. They deserve a team that's focused on winning, not creating reality TV drama. The timing couldn't be worse with the league's growth trajectory. The WNBA is finally getting the attention and respect it deserves. TV ratings are up, attendance is growing, corporate sponsors are investing. Then something like this happens and threatens to overshadow all the positive momentum. It's frustrating for everyone who wants to see the league succeed. Looking ahead, the Sky need to make major changes, not just with players, but with management, coaching, everything. You can't just swap out a few pieces and expect things to get better. This requires a complete cultural reset. New leadership that can establish boundaries, demand professionalism, and create an environment where winning comes first. The lesson here for other teams is clear. Chemistry matters more than talent. You can have all the skilled players in the world, but if they don't mesh together, you won't win anything. Teams like Connecticut and Las Vegas understand this. They prioritize culture and chemistry, and it shows in their success. The Sky forgot this basic principle and paid the price. Angel Reese's podcast move was actually genius from a business perspective. She's building her brand outside of basketball, creating revenue streams that don't depend on the Sky organization. She saw the writing on the wall and pivoted quickly. You have to respect the hustle, even if you don't agree with how she handled the team situation. But let's be real about what this means for her basketball career. Teams are going to think twice before bringing her in. GMs will wonder if she'll cause the same problems in their locker room. Coaches will question if she's coachable, or if she'll go rogue when things don't go her way. She's talented enough that someone will take the risk, but her reputation is definitely damaged. The Sky organization needs to take responsibility too. They created an environment where this could happen. They didn't establish clear boundaries or consequences. They let player power go too far without any checks and balances. When you lose control of your locker room, this is what happens: complete chaos and public embarrassment. What's fascinating is comparing this to how other teams handle adversity. The Fever had a rough start to their season, but turned it around through communication and teamwork. The Mercury dealt with injuries and roster changes, but maintained professionalism. The Sky just completely fell apart at the first sign of trouble. That's a leadership problem from top to bottom. The ripple effects of this will be felt for years. Young players entering the league are watching and learning what not to do. Agents are taking notes about which organizations to avoid. Sponsors might think twice about partnering with a team that can't maintain basic professionalism. This isn't just about one bad season, it's about long-term damage to the franchise. If you think this drama is crazy, make sure to subscribe because we'll be covering every development as this story continues to unfold. The Sky's dysfunction is far from over, and the fallout is just beginning. This is the kind of story that will be talked about for years as an example of how not to run a professional sports franchise. The question now is whether the Sky can recover or if this is the beginning of the end for what was once a proud championship organization.